Weirdly enough, paranormal experiences have just been a major part of my life. The meat of this video, or I guess what this video is going to be building up to, is the EVP that I captured of my mother, who passed away. And if you don't know what EVP means, it means electronic voice phenomenon. What electronic voice phenomenon means is pretty much paranormal voice captured on audio recording. Before I get to that, I want to talk about other paranormal experiences and supernatural experiences that I've had, because I feel like it's important buildup as to how I was actually able to capture an EVP. But when I caught it of my mom's, I was so shocked. That experience totally changed my perception of reality and what's possible. It just, everything collapsed. Reality collapsed. I was just like, how is this able to happen? So I include that recording later, and I have some other EVPs after that. So with all of that being said, let's dive right into it. So when I grew up, my parents were divorced, so I spent time either at my mom's house or my dad's house. And I was also an only child. So one night when I was staying at my mom's house, I was sleeping and my mom woke me up early in the morning. I just remember I woke up to her opening the door in a frenzy, her hair was all messy. She was like, "Tiffany, did you turn around all the pictures downstairs? Did you turn them around?" And I was like, "No, what are you talking about?" And so we had a fireplace, and she had all of these pictures of her grandmother, her great-grandmother, just all of these family members' pictures. I think some of them had deceased, but they were creepy old black and white photos, just all lined up over our fireplace. They weren't pictures that would hang that you would nail to the wall. They were pictures that would rest on easel backs, those pictures that you just rest one on your desk or something like that. She had a row of those pictures on a shelf that was above the fireplace, and so it had looked like someone had went one by one and physically turned all of them around. So rather than the pictures resting and facing towards the viewer, they were all facing towards the wall. And she had woken me up asking me if I had turned them all around. I have full body chills right now because it's so creepy to think about. And she was like, "It's not funny if you did, let me know if you did you do it?" And I was like, "No, I have no idea what you're talking about." And she was just like, "Okay." And a skeptic could say, maybe someone broke into the house and turned them around and was playing a prank. And you know what? Maybe it is possible. But you can't deny the fact that that's weird. So my mom battled breast cancer for most of my life. She died when I was 12, but I think she got diagnosed with breast cancer for the first time when I was 6 years old or 7 years old, and then she lost that battle when I was 12. And that was really hard, obviously. Not easy. Just imagine the most beautiful person that just so full of light. Just all of that light, I'm so sorry. But just imagine all of that light just being sucked out of them. But she fought a long battle, and so towards the end of her life, she actually, because like I said, my parents were divorced, and towards the end of her life, she moved into my dad's place. So the last few months of her life, when the battle was coming to an end, we all lived together at my dad's, and she actually ended up passing away in my dad's house on March 10th at around 3 a.m. And that was hard. That was hard. After she died, one of the ways that I coped with that was sleeping on the floor. I can't really think of as to why, but maybe it was just needing a pattern switch. But anyways, I would sleep on the floor, and I had one of those beds when I was a kid. It was one of those beds that was a bunk bed, but the bottom wasn't another bed. It was a desk underneath the bed. I thought it was so freaking cool. Now that I'm thinking about it, I want one of those again. But anyways, so my bed was up high and my desk below, And instead of sleeping in the bed, I would bring all my blankets down onto the floor and I would sleep on the floor. And I also had this projector thing that you could like put DVDs into. And so I would put like my DVDs in back when DVDs were a thing. And I would project a movie onto the ceiling and I would like lay on the floor and I would go to bed. And that was one way that like I comforted myself, you know, after something incredibly tragic happened. And I remember one night I woke up on the floor, but none of my blankets were with me. They were all folded on my bed. Not the bed was made, but they were folded on my bed. And I rushed into my dad's room when he was sleeping. And that's so funny now that I'm thinking about this. My mom did the exact same thing to me. She rushed into my bedroom when I was sleeping. I'm just not so weird. Anyways, I rushed into my dad's bedroom when he was sleeping. And I was like, Dad, did you come in and did you fold all the blankets? And he was like, no, Tiffany, like you must have slept walked and done it yourself. You must have done it yourself. And in my head, when I was a kid, I knew that I didn't do it myself. I mean, how am I gonna sleep? Like, unless there's like, was a demon possessed by me or something like that? Like, how am I gonna sleepwalk and fold all my blankets and put them on top of my bunk bed? And that's a very real memory. That's a very real memory, and it still haunts me to this day. So I have interacted with 3 different psychics, and none of these psychics, just so you know, none of them had like spoken to each other or talked to each other. One psychic, she did channel my mom, and she described her as a ball of light just right here. And then another psychic that I was speaking to also was like, there's a ball of energy next to you right here. Then the third psychic I saw, I was like, Can you channel my mom? And I actually have a video. I'll put it in the description of this video, but I actually recorded my interaction with the psychic and I made a video on it. It's called like I went ghost hunting in Florida, and me visiting the psychic was like one part of the video. But anyways, I'm seeing the psychic, and immediately when I see her, I tell her, you know, what's going on. I'm like, I'm trying to channel my mom. And she was just like, she's right there. She's digging flowers there, like right next to you. She's digging her garden. She didn't describe her as a ball of light, but she described her as like digging a garden, like right next to me, which I thought was really beautiful. But then we went into the room to do the reading, and she knew. I didn't tell her anything. She knew my mom's sign. She was like, was your mom an Aquarius?
What's your mom's name?
Marcella.
She's definitely a vibrant spirit. And her birthday was important. So is she an Aquarius?
Yeah, she was. She was an Aquarius.
She was a weirdo.
This also really freaked me the fuck out. Like, I started crying hysterically. The psychic was like, did you have problems with the car this year? That's a very common problem, right? Like, you could say that to anybody. Like, did you have problems with the car this year? And like, 9 out of 10 people would be like, yeah, I've had car problems. Like, it's a very common issue. But I was like, yeah, I did. The psychic was like, yeah, well, and you got some good luck with the car. Like, you got it all figured out, right? And I was like, yeah. And she was like, that was your mom. And she was like, and you knew it was her because you thanked her. You stood there and you said, thank you, Mom. And she said, you're welcome. The timing of my car situation with the problems and the solutions, all of it, it was so divine that I was like, that has to be my mom helping me. And I remember standing there. I literally remember standing in the mirror and I was like, thank you, Mom. And the fucking psychic knew that.
Have any issues last year with a car? She helped you.
Are you kidding me?
She absolutely helped you get the car, whether it be, was it fixed? Or got a new one? Something that had to do with get both?
Both.
Okay, there you go. And you thanked her.
I did. I did.
So you knew. You didn't maybe know right in that second when it was happening, but you knew after the fact, and you thanked her, and you're welcome.
No, I literally said, thank you, Mom. There was a point that I said, thank you, Mom.
Mm-hmm.
That's so funny. That's hilarious. That's just so funny that you say that. So for me, that's just confirmation that my mom is just with me all of the time. So now I'm going to talk about exactly what kind of led me to want to have an EVP session with my mom. So I'm a videographer, if you don't know, and a part of being a videographer means recording interviews. I was recording an interview with my client Henry at the time. I had the camera set up, I had, the audio set up. Everything was going all fine during the interview, blah, blah, blah. But then when I was playing back the interview during editing, I noticed that the audio started glitching right when my client Henry was talking about his dead fiance. One could also scrap that up to being a coinkydink, maybe the audio was glitching around, the time he was talking about his dead fiance. But for me, I don't really believe in coincidences, and I thought that was pretty peculiar, especially since I'd used this equipment all the time and no glitch like that had ever happened before. That experience led me to try out an actual EVP session. I thought in my head, I was like, if I could catch some paranormal activity when I'm not trying, what would happen if I actually did try? So it was approaching the time of my mother's birthday. It's about 1:30 in the morning. And I was like, you know what? Screw it. Why not? Let me just try it. I was in my feelings. My mom's birthday was approaching. I wanted to see if anything would happen. And so I set up my audio equipment. I sat on the couch. I grabbed a glass of water. And I was like, I'm going to talk to her as if she is right next to me on the couch. And so I'm sitting there on the couch and I'm pretending that, she's right next to me and that I'm talking to her. And then I stopped the recording. Like I said, it's 1, 2 in the morning. I'm alone at my apartment. I upload the file onto this computer. And immediately when I'm playing it back, and I'm going to include little snippets, so I'll include them throughout this edit. But when I'm playing it back, I hear tsk, 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 a steady heartbeat throughout the entire recording. And as I'm listening to it, I'm like, yeah, I got something. Mom, if you're here, let me know. But then, God, I have the chills. I'm listening to this recording and I hear my voice, and then I hear a softer voice in the background say something, but I couldn't hear what it said. And then I paused my computer immediately. I was like, what the fuck? God, can you see my chills right now? And then I go back to that spot and I play it so I could hear what it says. And it's my mom's voice, and it says, I miss them. And she said it right after I was, talking about, I'll just play the recording. The moment where you were on the wheelchair and you looked to the side at the photos and the pictures. And you realized it was over. I'm so sorry you had to go through that. I don't even know what to say, honestly. Yeah, I don't know what to say. But anyways, after I caught that, everything just shattered for me. And you right now, as the viewer watching this video, you could be skeptical. I understand. Hopefully you're not, and you can know and can tell that these are authentic stories and recordings. But my world shattered. I didn't think that kind of stuff could happen in real life. I didn't think that kind of stuff could happen to me. I was so scared and so happy and so amazed at the same time. I think those are the best 3 words to describe my feeling at that moment, was happy, terrified, and just pure amazement. After that, once I realized EVPs were real, I tried to have an EVP session at a graveyard at night. I know, I'm a weirdo. That's also in I Went Ghost Hunting in Florida video. And I didn't catch a voice, but I caught static, and I also caught weird breathing noises, which I'll insert. Is there anyone here? You're more than welcome to say anything. Is anyone here? I have to go soon. And then the last story I'm gonna tell is one that happened, and this wasn't something that I was trying to do. It was an accident, and I still have a little bit of doubt, like maybe it wasn't a ghost, but it's still pretty weird, and I'll play it for you. But I was recording an event, and at the event there were like different young entrepreneurs there, like selling their products and stuff. And so I was recording the event, I was catching interviews, whatever. And I was interviewing this young entrepreneur about his fishing bait, because that was his product. Everything's going fine and dandy in the interview. And then I'm in editing, and I'm playing the interview back, and you can hear the muffled crowd in the background. Like, you know what I'm talking about, like the quiet hum of all the people and like the music or whatever. And there was nobody around us. It was just like me and him in the back of the store. And you just hear an old lady say, hello. Right after I ask the kid that I'm interviewing, I ask him, so tell me, like, who are you and what are you doing here? If you didn't know, that's a common prompt for like ghost hunters. That's a prompt that they use if they want to get a spirit to talk, is who are you and why are you here? And you hear just an elderly lady say, hello. Just gonna just say, what's your name and what are you here doing today? Or
Hello.
Action. My name is Pete. I make custom soft baits. I'm 14 years old. I have expanded a lot. I've been doing it about a year and a half now. And I started from pretty much nothing.
When I played that back, when I was editing, I was like, what? Like, that really freaked me out, because there was nobody around us and everything else is just a quiet hum. Like, how did I capture so clearly, like, this voice loud and above the crowd? And there was nothing else. It wasn't like anyone else said hello. There was no one else talking after that. It was just hello. That was it. Because I could get, like, if there was somebody else that said something, or like if she was answering a phone call and like then there was her voice after that, but there was nothing after that. It was just hello. That part of town is actually a historic part of town. Like, there's a lot of history there. So who knows? But with all of that being said, I have been like really hesitant to share a video like this, even though I've been wanting to for a long time. I've been hesitant to, just because it's really personal and it's just something that's very real for me. And I guess putting it out, it's very real and very personal, and putting it out there for someone to say that it's not real and invalidate it is a little bit scary. But I think it's an important story, and I hope that it can shed light to you as to what's possible in this reality. And I guess I just want the viewer, I want you to know that everything isn't always as it seems, and there's a lot more than what meets the eye. What seems impossible can be possible. And I also want you to know that your loved ones are with you. They're always with you. They're always watching over you. If you have any paranormal experiences, I would love to hear them. So let me know if you've had any similar experiences in the comments. But thank you so much for listening to my story, and I'll see you in the next one.